Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. This astrology report is for April 23rd through the 29th. So I hope you're doing well. I was not able to be in with a fresh show last week as I was off tending to some very important things in my life. So I hope that things have been going well for you. And we are here on the day of the Scorpio full moon doing this recording. In fact, the full moon is going to be in about 15 minutes, and we're going to have this moment together in ceremony. So this is the full moon in Scorpio at 4 degrees, opposing the sun at 4 degrees of Taurus. When the sun and the moon are direct opposite each other in the zodiac, that is the full moon. And here on the Pacific West Coast, 4:49 p.m. This is the fixed water sign, Scorpio, and a fixed earth sign, Taurus. So we're dealing with some definite, more sort of stiff energy. This is where we can really take hold of what we have right now. We become very fixed on it. We take hold. We slow down. Scorpio Taurus axis, very much about slowing things down and having this opportunity to go a little deeper. See Taurus, the sun in Taurus right now. Taurus season began just this last week. That was on April 19th. And so we get this grounded energy coming in. That becomes our focus, is Taurus things. So Taurus represents the home and sort of our immediate family, our resources at our home, our physical material things, our wealth. This is a Venus-ruled sign, Taurus. And so we have money, our money situation, our finances, our wealth, and the things that we accumulate, our assets, all those things with Taurus. Also pleasurable things. So the arts and beautiful things that smell, touch, taste, delicious and beautiful, and all those things that Venus wants, everything to be beautiful and pleasurable. And so then we have the moon in Scorpio, and the moon, of course, moves quickly through this aspect here with the full moon. But Scorpio is the opportunity to go deep and is the opposite of that Taurus energy. Scorpio is all about our depth. And this is where we find just these darker places. And this is a place of shadow. This is a place of the Pluto-ruled sign, Scorpio. This is a place of all those deep, dark things that we tend not to focus on too much. These are all of the themes that are a little more taboo. And so we have this juxtaposition, this axis that we're working on here, the Taurus Scorpio axis with the sun in Taurus, the moon in Scorpio. And so Taurus very much representing the spring and new life and light. And then Scorpio being that time of the fall in late October and early November when everything dies here in the Northern Hemisphere, of course. And that's where astrology was founded, was in the Northern Hemisphere. So all of it, based off of that. And so Scorpio is going to be that place of shadow. And so this can bring up challenges. This can bring up issues of, the sun is here, we're focusing on this, but I'm being pulled, my mood and my feelings, that of which the moon represents our mood and how we're feeling about things. And so we're pulled out of that pleasurable, Venus ruled Taurus area into this big full moon Scorpio energy. And it's even a little more intense when you look at the chart for it. We still have a lot of planets grouped together over in the one side of the zodiac. We have 3 planets in Pisces, 3 planets in Aries, and now 2 planets and the sun, a luminary, in Taurus. And so everything grouped together in Pisces, Aries, Taurus. So real easy to see where all the work is being done and what we are meant to focus on right now. Pisces, Aries, Taurus. So take a look at your astrological birth chart and just see which houses these are in for you and which areas of life you are doing work in, and the universe, that we are bringing this energy in. The solar system is, shooting all of this through into this sign. And then the moon is way out on the other side, away from all of this. So what's adding to the intensity of this Scorpio full moon is that we've got all the energy on one side, and it is basically shooting out straight like an arrow through the moon. So there could be some stuff dug up. It could feel a little dark. There is even a little bit more going on with this full moon, though. Pluto is the planetary ruler, as I mentioned, of Scorpio, and Pluto has just moved into Aquarius, is really getting excited about some new themes, and is at 2 degrees of Aquarius and is in a direct T-square to this full moon. So it's squared off to the moon and squared off to the sun. Pluto, being the ruling planet of this full moon in a square, adds a little extra intensity. And I was trying to I started my research a little late because I got a little curious about it right before I went on the air here. And so I actually went, just did a quick search for like the origin of the term to square off, because I'm realizing as I study astrology more that a lot of things are based off of these things. So it's fun. And so I just looked up square off, and it's, it means to prepare to fight, compete, or argue with someone. So it's very, pretty straightforward about what square off means. And so we've all heard that term maybe since growing up, that like a couple of dudes were about to fight and they squared off to each other, right? But this is an astrological term also, and the square in astrology is one of the tougher, more potent aspects. And so in a square, we have 2 planets that are in that 90-degree position, and they are squaring off. Their energies are squaring off. And in a full moon, we have the sun and the moon opposing each other, and we all know what an opposition means. That's like there's one opinion, one view, one person on one side, and the other opinion, view, person on the other side, whatever that is, whatever that situation is. There's always like that side and that side. And in an opposition, there is a decision to be made. This full moon point, it's a culmination point. It's an oppositional point where we decide to either fall one way over the fence or fall another way. We make a decision in an opposition. Well, a square is less decisive. It's not even about making a decision. It's just about having the square off and having the fight and having the argument and having those moments where an opposition is even a little more active. A square is like you just kind of take it, and it is active. There is action there, but the action is sort of stuck right in that squaring off point. So it's always interesting to see these aspects come in. Pluto is going to be actually stationing retrograde next week. Is that right? Yeah, next week. Pluto is stationing on May 2nd to go retrograde. And so this is a slowing Pluto. This is a potent Pluto, because anytime a planet slows down to station, direct, or retrograde, their energies are felt extremely strong. So this is a challenging one, and this is coming right after we've just been through a pretty intense eclipse season, and this is our first full moon since the eclipses. So this is kind of the big closeout, and Pluto is all about transformations in Scorpio. This is going to those deep, dark places, dying a little bit, and then being rebirthed into a new vision into Sagittarius land. So Scorpio is a beautiful opportunity to dissolve something away and to sort of cut a cord and have this transformation that we are needing right now. So that's a big full moon moment that we are experiencing together during this reading. And then later in the week, April 25th, is going to bring the planet of Mercury to station direct. So again, as we're mentioning planets slowing down and stationing and their strength when they do so, we have right now Mercury doing that. Mercury does this retrograde, going to do this 4 times this year. So this is the second of 4 Mercury retrogrades in 2024, FYI. So once Mercury passes out of the shadow, which is the 3rd pass over this territory that we've already seen twice. So a retrograde always gives 3 times to go over the same material. So if you've been feeling like over the past 3 weeks, you've been having to do things multiple times, you've been having to redo things, review things, go back and take care of something over and over again, that is definitely a Mercury retrograde energy. And so as Mercury stations direct on April 25th at 16 degrees of Aries, Mercury is going to be conjunct the North Node. And this is a powerful thing that we have going on. Mercury stationing direct on the North Node. The North Node are the things that we want to bring into our life. That's the direction we're heading. That is our future. That is the good stuff. And so Mercury landing right on after this retrograde onto the North Node, we are certainly going to be feeling destiny pulling us in certain directions over the next couple of weeks as Mercury makes this pretty slow moving contact with the North Node, reminding us of the direction we're heading, the things that we want in our life, and the power that we have to step up, Aries, and be a leader in our own life, Aries, and take charge and make action happen, Aries, that we're going to be really starting to feel like taking steps forward. And if it's been kind of slow the past few weeks, things haven't been coming together, things are going to start to roll in a good direction there. So that's super positive, and all these things happen together. This is all unique energy. So as we study the astrology, as we study our own astrological birth chart and how these energies are working within us and within our lives, and how we can take a more conscious role and be a player in that. So we are always cooperating with these energies. Astrology doesn't make anything happen. It just puts the energy in a place where if you feel like consciously stepping up and working with that, you could probably do something with that for sure. So, that is a big theme. And I wanted to bring in another one of these NASA audio clips of the planet of Pluto, because we don't get the opportunity to work with this slow moving planet. And right now, just the past 6 months has been all about Pluto. And I feel like we are reaching some big point here with this Scorpio full moon where Pluto is going to be going retrograde soon. We're going to be taking in some messaging here from this audio frequency. And so let's have a 30-second meditation here with the Pluto frequency that NASA caught. Whoa. Okay. So every time I listen to these audio clips that NASA caught off of the frequencies being emitted by the different planets in our solar system, that one was Pluto. Every time I hear them, I hear something different. And this time what came to me was the story about being saved by the bell. And this is another origin story of where did this phrase come from, saved by the bell. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe that back in the day when there was a huge, there was a prevalence of people who were being buried alive unknowingly because they had lead poisoning or something, and people would literally look like they were dead. And this is also where the idea of awake came from, because people didn't know if their relatives were actually dead or if they were just having a lead poisoning or what. But they would actually bury people during this time because it was such a common thing that people would be buried alive. They would bury them with a little string down into their coffin attached to a bell so that if they woke up in their coffin, that they could ring the bell. And if somebody was working the graveyard shift, that is exactly what they were doing. They were waiting to listen for little bells ringing so that they could dig people up who had been accidentally buried. So for whatever reason, that is what came up for me during the listening of that little audio frequency. We have more going on this week. It's actually quite a busy week astrologically. And come April 28th, we have another planetary conjunction. And this is the planet of Mars going to be joining up with the planet of Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces. And this is something that happens. This happens once every time Mars comes around. This happens once every year to a year plus a couple months or so, depending on how Mars retrogrades and what the cycles are. But so it's not like a totally rare one, but what Mars conjunct Neptune is known for is a couple of things. First, really strong weather patterns. And because this is in Pisces, we could see a lot of wet weather patterns. Okay, flooding. This is when pipes nothing's truly maybe an accident, especially when the weather is affected by such a big thing as this Pisces energy. But just pipes bursting, or maybe you just are desiring more baths and showers and you're being drawn more to water. There's also another thing that this represents is just taking actions, Mars, based on your intuition, Neptune. So there could be a strong desire to take action. Not sure exactly why. It's an internal feeling. It's almost subconscious. So it's almost in the collective unconscious. It's almost taking unconscious action, sleepwalking. This is a potential underneath this type of energy. Also, overdose, drugs, going over the top with alcohol and drugs, because that's what Neptune represents in Mars, is big, going over the top, shooting shooting first and asking questions later. So just something to be aware of to keep your Mars activity under control over the weekend. And then a couple of planetary shifts that close out the month of April. We are nearing the end of the month, and next week I intend to bring to you the May monthly astrological breakdown. I love going through the whole month and offering that up as a way of organizing your thoughts on a little bit longer of a time frame. Usually I do these weekly shows, but once a month I like to break it down for the whole month. So I'll be doing that one next week. But a couple of planetary shifts, and these are very cool ones. We have 2 personal planets going into their home signs here at the end of April. On April 29th, Venus entering Taurus, her home sign. She rules it. She's going to be there during the time that the sun is there and going to just be lighting up everything that she represents in her home sign, which is money, love, pleasure, and relationships. So this is a really great place for her. She is going to do some really, really good work there, as we just had that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. We have the sun going to be coming into contact with those. We have Venus going to be coming into contact with those planets. And so that was a big one too. And I know I'd been talking about that a lot, prepping everybody for it, but I wasn't able to be here last week to chat about it. That conjunction was on late in the evening on April 20th, early in the morning on the 21st. And that's a big one. And so we'll be definitely seeing that excitement, that good luck that Jupiter brings in, and also that change, that quick moving change that Uranus wants to bring. It's super shocking, and also there is a lot of positivity that comes with it because Jupiter is there. So we're going to watch all of the personal planets move over the top of those 2 planets and just be stimulating that and stimulating that and stimulating that over the next couple of months or so as time rolls on. And then on April 30th, Mars moving into his home sign of Aries, and he just loves it here. This is a really great place for masculine energy to be recharged. Can also be quite impulsive and really straightforward. So, all of those things that we tend to try and balance and keep into check, Venus and Mars, they are going to be in their home signs full power for a little while. So we will be talking more about that as we move through the astrology here in spring of 2024. And I just appreciate you listening, and I hope you have a really good week. I will talk to you again soon. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.